right, Cody. Well, let's get into it. First, I wanted to bring up the dark and gloom. So one that means a little bit more to me that I wanted to bring up was Vin Scully passed away. And I'm going to preface it by saying this. I may get a little bit emotional because, I grew up listening to Vin Scully. Not only did he do a lot of baseball games, and obviously he's well known for being the Dodgers voice. It's time for Dodgers baseball. But he was a national broadcaster for years, as well as doing the Dodger broadcasts, which a lot of broadcasters still do that. But Vin Scully would do football games. I mean, he did the famous catch by Dwight Clark from the 49ers back in the 80s with Joe Montana and Dwight Clark throwing that ball way up high and him catching it. He did that play. He did the famous Kirk Gibson home run where he was like basically limping on every single step. There's so many great moments from Vin Scully, but the one moment, or I guess the two moments that I'll always remember, is September 30th, 2016. My wife and I got married. Cody, you were there. And so after we had got married, we got into our car. We left for San Francisco. We were going to stay all weekend, and we did. And it just so happened that the Giants and Dodgers were playing that weekend, so we got tickets to go to see the Giants and Dodgers on October 1st. So we went to the game. It was Clayton Kershaw pitching against Ty Block. And I remember Angel Pagan hitting a home run off of Kershaw, which never happened. I mean, Kershaw at that time was still super dominant. He was actually the losing pitcher and still went 7 innings. He only gave up 2 earned runs. So that just tells you that the Dodgers just weren't hitting that day. But we loved the game so much, the view of Oracle Park. And so we were back at our hotel room, and I believe it was you, Cody, that got us this hotel too. I think we were staying at a Hilton. Uh-huh. So at the time you were working at Hilton, and so we were at that game, loved it, got some Ghirardelli chocolate, all that stuff. And so we're like, okay, that was really fun. Glad we got to go see that. And then the last game of the season was the next day. And so I was joking around with my wife. I was like, "Hey, we should go tomorrow." And she was like, "Okay." And so we were just, we got to the hotel room. We were having, I think we were getting ready to eat, and we were just kind of on our phone before we left. And my wife was looking up, and she was like, "Hey, we should go to the game tomorrow. Would you want to go?" And I was like, "Well, okay, of course I want to go." And I was like, "But can we actually go?" And my wife had to kind of talk me into it a little bit, and I'm so glad she did. Because the next day was October 2nd, which 2016, which was Vin Scully's last game he ever announced. And my wife was like, "We have to go. It's Vin Scully." And I was like, You're right. I think we have to go. We have the opportunity. Luckily at that time we were able to afford that. So we said, all right, let's go. Let's do it. We found some cheap-ish tickets because if you know Oracle Park, it's not cheap to find tickets. But we found some that, worked out, and we got into left field. And right when you come into the ballpark, they're handing out these cards, which I wish I had it. I don't know where I put them right now. I know I have them. I just don't know where it is, but it says, "Thank you, Vin." And, it's a big, sign that you can hold up, and they were trying to get a shot of basically everyone, saying "Thank you, Vin," and all that. And what was really cool was one of the innings, they actually let Vin Scully, they had him over on the loudspeaker, and they had him do the inning. So if you've never been to a ballpark, you're obviously not hearing the broadcasters. But in this case, they wanted everyone to be able to hear him. And even Vin Scully himself at one point thanked everyone in the stadium. And mind you, this is in San Francisco. This is not in LA. This is San Francisco. So he's thanking everyone. This is how well Vin Scully was liked. And it was a magical moment. It was so cool. My wife is a Dodger fan. I am a Giants fan, obviously. And we got to see Vin Scully's last game. And I will always remember that because, that was my wife and I's honeymoon and Vin Scully's last game. And it's sad to hear a legend pass away like that. I mean, this guy made broadcasting popular. You were a rock star. Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow are not who they are if it was not for Vin Scully. And if you don't know who those are the Giants broadcasters. And so the stories that Vin Scully would have, he had stories for not only the players, not only the coaches, but for the umpires, for the cameramen that were, doing the games for the opposing team. Like, he knew everyone. Vin Scully had a story for everything. And I was actually telling my wife this. I remember being at my house when I was in high school. And I had this dream that I was going to be a broadcaster. So I would be playing my video games, playing my baseball video game, and I would be broadcasting the game to myself, of course. No one else around. And I was, that picture's just a bit outside. And I would try and pull the whole Vin Scully thing where he would be telling a story, and in the middle of the story, and that picture's outside for ball one. And so anyway, this guy was, he was trying to pick on this other kid. And of course, just making up stuff. And I just remember always trying to do that. And the way Vin Scully did it was just pure art. It was pure magic. And I was very devastated to hear that he had passed. It is an understatement to say that I am sad. But, I'm so glad that Vin Scully gets to be with his wife now. And he gets to, like I said, with Bill Russell, he gets to live his life out in eternity.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think it's an understatement to say that he probably grew up with a lot of adults, children, fans that are obviously well older than us, but, he touched generations upon generations. And, it's just very cool how you have that story that's, not only is it sentimental because of your honeymoon, but also too, it was the last game that he called and you guys got to hear it in the stadium and be a part of it. So that's phenomenal. And no doubt that is it's heartbreaking. He, again, just like Bill Russell, he lived a long and prosperous life. It's just so sad that, we weren't ready for it, but, damn that it happened. But, he will definitely be missed for sure.
Yeah. So I just want to say shout out to my wife for making me go to that game. I mean, she didn't really have to drag me there. Of course I was like, yeah, let's go. But, I wasn't sure if maybe we should spend the money. And she was like, how often are we going to ever see Vin Scully's last game? I was like, that's a fantastic point. So I'm glad that my wife talked me into it, and I'm glad we went. And I'm now, especially now, it means a lot. So yeah, unfortunately we had to see him go.